So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another zombies video, where today we are back with a Q&A, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, a like rating would be appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, but let's get into it. Here we go. Enjoy. Quickly, as I said in my last video, I just want to say my voice is a little bit sore still, so apologies for that. And also, when this video goes out, will more than likely be on Christmas Day, so hopefully you have all had an amazing day. If you don't celebrate it, happy day. But let me know in the comment section below what you have opened today, what you've gotten, or what you've even brought for people. It'll be super interesting to see what you guys have opened. So, getting into the first question of today from Delta Armed Forces TV, you say, "Hey BOA, what do you think happened to the other Richtofen we see reading the Canorium in the lab in the Blood of the Dead intro? Love your videos." So, good question, because we don't 100% know. Since we have so many different versions of Richtofen in zombies, sometimes it's hard to tell which one is from where. But you are right, as you say, in the Blood of the Dead intro, we have two different versions of Richtofen, one that is already in the laboratory, reading the Canorium, and then we also have the other Richtofen that arrives into the laboratory from Zetsubenoshima along with the Primus crew. We know this is the Richtofen that we play with in Blood of the Dead, the one that sacrifices himself on the Dark Mechanism. But as for the other one, reading the Canorium, well, we see him hand it over to Richtofen. He then opens up a rift and leaves. He walks away. We never see him again. Now, we do know in the next map, which is Classified, in the ending cutscene for that, we can see Primus Richtofen, and this is strange because in the previous map, Blood of the Dead, as I just said, Richtofen died. It was only Takeo, Nikolai, Dempsey, and post-Revelations Richtofen that was alive. Primus Richtofen was supposed to be dead, yet in the map after that, in Classified, he all of a sudden returns. We never get an explanation as to where this new Richtofen comes from. He died in Blood of the Dead, yet in the next map, he is alive again. And we see, even further into our storyline in Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten, Primus Richtofen is still present, he is still alive, and so could it be, and it would only make sense, that the Richtofen that left the laboratory in Blood of the Dead, the one that walked away, is also the one that rejoins with the characters later on in Classified and carries on working with them in Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten. That's more than likely the situation. Clearly the Richtofen that walked away in Blood of the Dead knew what was going to happen. You could tell by his facial expressions and the way he puts his hands up in the air. He knew that the other Richtofen was going to be trapped in Blood of the Dead and had to die, and so this Richtofen left and joined up with Primus later on. But since it isn't 100% confirmed, there could be other explanations. Some people have said that the Richtofen we see in Classified is post-Revelations Richtofen, he just changed his clothes. I don't think that's the case myself, but we also know there are many versions of Richtofen, so this could just be a totally different version of him that we've never seen before, which would then leave us to wonder what happened to the Richtofen that left Alcatraz. We don't know for certain, but I think when he left the prison, he joined up with Primus in Classified once the Richtofen that was trapped here died. The next question from The Radiant says, "I'm still confused, did Classified happen first, or was it 5? So Classified does take place before 5, however, there isn't a massive gap between the two maps. We don't know the exact date, but Classified takes place sometime between November the 2nd, 1963 and November the 6th, while for 5, we know the exact date for that map, which is November the 6th. So Classified literally could be a few days or a few hours before 5, but we know it's before because, first off, in the intro cutscene, we can see Samantha sends Yuri to release the zombies on the Pentagon, and then just as he's going to attack the Ultimus crew, Samantha stops him and then sends him away, where he would attack 5 days later. And the second reason we know Classified takes place before 5 is there is an Easter egg in this map, where you knock on a certain door, and when you do so, behind it, someone is in that room. Whilst the zombie apocalypse is going on, someone is still inside the Pentagon, and that person is Robert McNamara. Of course, he was one of the characters that you play as in 5, but as you keep knocking, he will begin to talk, and he mentions a meeting between Fidel Castro, JFK, and Richard Nixon. This meeting was the one we saw happen in the 5 intro cutscene, which tells us that Classified takes place a few days before that meeting happens in 5.
Whatever it is, it can wait. I specifically requested that I not be disturbed under any circumstances. This meeting is of paramount importance, and I must ensure every detail is planned to perfection. I'm sorry. Did I not make myself crystal clear? This meeting will literally, and I mean literally, change the course of history. Perhaps you're familiar with the term mutually assured destruction. Well, this meeting aims to render that concept obsolete. So I asked you nicely, leave me be! Why are you so damned persistent? What on earth could possibly be more important than my work? Oh, I know what it is. If this is about the broken server, we are aware of the issue, and we will have it fixed by Tuesday. So if there's nothing else, please, leave me in peace. Good heavens, man! Have you no reason? Are you deaf? Can you not comprehend the importance of my work? This isn't just America's fight, it is the world's fight. Wait a minute. Purnell, is that you? Damn it, Purnell, if you don't leave me alone, I will have you removed from Groom Lake. I don't give a damn about what the company has to say about it. You know better than to bother me at this hour. Unbelievable.
He said, leave him alone!
So yeah, there you go, that pretty much tells us this map 100% takes place before 5. The next question says, can you go over everything we know so far about COD 2020? So the reason I've put this here is because we know that next year's Call of Duty, which, well, next year isn't too far away. I mean, I assume it's going to come out in October or November time, but we now know it's going to be developed by Treyarch, and this is unusual for us because nowadays in Call of Duty we have a 3-year cycle. We have 3 different developers. Usually it goes Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer and Treyarch. But apparently Sledgehammer have been, well, basically axed. We know a lot of their employees and especially the higher ups were fired or moved along to other projects. I guess most of that was down to the success of World War II, and Treyarch are supposedly making next year's Call of Duty, which only gives them 2 years instead of the usual 3 years to develop the game, since their last one was Black Ops 4. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if you look back at the older CODs, there was only a 2-year cycle then. Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, World at War, and well, as a lot of people say, those were the best ones. So having a shorter time to develop a game doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worse. So knowing that Treyarch are making COD 2020, and obviously it's going to have zombies, that is Treyarch's staple, what so far do we know about the game? Because, as usual with every COD, we have had leaks. Well, it's a little bit early for the major leaks such as an image or big information. We usually get that in about February or March time. Since the trailers and promotion for the next Call of Duties start around April time, leaks usually start happening a little bit before that, so we're a couple of months away from major information, but we do have some small bits. And of course, as always, these are leaks, so take it with a grain of salt. As with every leak, it may or may not be true, but so far this is what we have. And a few people have come out with this information, but as you can see from, this is just one of the many tweets. Call of Duty 2020 has 2 names. It is either going to be called Call of Duty Black Ops or Call of Duty Black Ops 5 or V. It is going to be set during the Cold War, spans the entire 40 years, including Vietnam and the Korean War, and it's described as even more gritty and gruesome than Modern Warfare. So this is interesting because, like Modern Warfare, is it going to be a reboot? Surely if it's going to be called just Black Ops, then it must be a reboot. Also, I can't see where they would go with the storyline from Black Ops 3. There is nowhere else to go. So whether it's called Black Ops or Black Ops 5, it doesn't really matter. But the fact that if they do carry on with this series, surely it has to be a reboot. I think we can safely say they're going to have a campaign this time. We know the campaign for Black Ops 4 was scrapped, simply because Treyarch didn't do a good enough job, and that's not too hard to believe if you've played the Black Ops 3 campaign. But I'm pretty sure the next game's going to have one, and if they carry on with the series, which it looks like they are, then it's going to be a reboot. We're also told it's set during the Cold War, however it spans an entire 40 years, which includes the Vietnam and the Korean War. So that's describing the campaign. Obviously the multiplayer is going to be based around that era as well, which I am actually super excited about. Black Ops was one of my personal favourite games, and remember, the next generation consoles come out next year as well. The Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 are coming out in the holiday of 2020, which should be a little bit before Treyarch's game releases, which means it's going to be a next generation game. It's going to look... It's gonna look amazing. I'm guessing they might also put it on the old console as well. And then talking about the zombies, well, we don't really know anything about it. Of course, if the game's set during the Cold War in Vietnam, those are the type of weapons that we'll have, but that doesn't necessarily say anything about the storyline or maps. We know we are going to be carrying on with the Chaos story, that's if Treyarch don't decide to scrap it, but as I've said many times, what they need to do is continue Aether. That is the main draw to zombies. It's been around for 10 years. We know the storyline ended in Tag der Toten, but just like the game's reboot, they could reboot the Aether storyline as well. Either bring back the old characters of Richtof and Taku, Nikolai and Dempsey, give them a whole new storyline, a whole new origin, just like the Modern Warfare campaign did with Price and Nikolai. I don't really see where they could go if they carried on the Aether story, since our main characters are dead. A lot of the characters are trapped in the Dark Aether, and the only two we have left are the children, Samantha and Eddie, unless we play as them when they grow up and the zombie outbreak happens again in a different way, which could be a possibility and could be interesting. But I think the best route for them to do is reboot the Aether story. Finish off the Chaos one, maybe just give us a map or two, and then give us a couple of Aether maps and carry on with that story throughout the DLC. Talking about DLC, I'm pretty sure we can also say it is going to be free just like Modern Warfare, so I am very, very excited. Like I said, expect the major leaks in a couple of months, late February or March time. The games usually get revealed, we get a trailer in about April, and then it should be coming on next gen consoles in October or November. So guys, there we go, that is it, that is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, a like rating would be appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Leave any questions you have in the comment section below. Hopefully you've all had a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.